We started recording, Jade, yeah.
I didn't, but someone's done that for me. So thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, well, we'll make a start because we've got quite a lot of people on the call. So good morning, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ruth Ilgunas and I'm a delivery manager. And I've been working with my fellow delivery managers, Chris Watrett, Laura Taft, Jade Auckland and Andrea Hobson, who can't be on the call, on some playbooks for Agile Ceremonies. And we're going to talk you through stand-ups and retrospectives this morning. Following that, Jim White and his team are going to take you through sprint reviews. But for now, we're going to get into stand-ups. So this is our agenda. And here we go. So what is the purpose of a stand-up? A stand-up meeting is a daily opportunity for the squad or the team to discuss what they are working on, how this relates to the team's shared goal, and to report and identify any risks, issues, blockers, or impediments that are preventing the team from achieving the goal, and sorting out that remediation. And the aim of a stand-up is to aid fast feedback loops, to support effective delivery and address any issue without delay. The benefit of a stand-up is that they allow teams to collaborate quickly, gain immediate feedback and set priorities and direction. So what do I need before I start a stand-up? So everybody in the squad or the team or anybody who has contributed to the work. These sessions can be facilitated in person or remotely, depending on how you work. You can do them either using a physical board or a virtual board that everybody can access to, add feedback and updates. And usually stand-ups happen once a day or as required, depending on how your team works or the project that you're working on. And usually they are a maximum of 15 minutes and they don't overrun. So what is the format? So the Agile Delivery Manager will often facilitate, but the squad should be self-organising and any one squad member can facilitate the session. There are two common formats on running the stand-up session. So there's the round table format, where each member of the team gives a short review of what they did the previous day, the plan for the current working day, and confirm whether they have any impediments. So questions that we would ask: what did I do yesterday? What am I going to do today? Are there any blockers that we need to fix? The other format is right to left. This is where the team walks through their Jira board or physical board, depending on what you use or what tool you use, from right to left, discussing each piece of work and what is needed to complete it. And now I'm going to stop sharing and Chris is going to start sharing. I don't know how I stop sharing, Chris. So just
I'll share my screen and
okay.
See if that takes dominance, shall I?
Cool. So we're going to do a quick, because they should be 15 minutes, but in the essence of time for this lunch and learn, we're going to do a quick stand-up demonstration for you. So that's what we're going to do now.
Okay, great. Is my screen shared?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for this stand-up, we'll focus around on the tasks needed to deliver the playbook and this lunch and learn. We're going to go right to left because the initiative is nearly complete and we want to focus on completion. So let's get that board cleared. Okay, so we'll start with a blocked column. There's a ticket to confirm the date for the lunch and learn. That's with Andrea, but she's not with us. Can anyone help in her absence?
Yeah, so she let me know that she'd been struggling with that one. It was because Louise had been on holiday, so she was not able to compare their dates. It meant that she's been blocked on that.
Okay, so to try and kind of move that one forward, let's try and speak to another member of his team, see if they can help. Hopefully get that one moving. Okay.
I'm happy to pick that one up, that action.
All right, thanks, Ruth. Okay, we'll move to the in progress column. Jade, there's a break the playbook for the stand-up ceremonies. How's that going?
Yep, should have that one completed tomorrow.
Right, fantastic.
Yep.
For me, create the playbook for the retro ceremonies. That's actually done now, so I'll move that to done. If we go to the to-do column, Ruth, what's happening with booking the slot for the lunch and learn?
Yeah, so I've been in touch with Christy Farrow on the people team to organise the comms surrounding the lunch and learn. So we've been talking about that, and once we've got that action completed, where Louis to confirm which date he can do, we will get that booked in, and Christy's going to aim to send the comms out by the end of the week.
Okay, so that's actually happening at the moment.
Yeah, so that's in progress. Yeah.
Right, we'll move that into progress. Great. Laura, creating the slides.
Yes, I'm hoping to make a start on those tomorrow, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Thank you very much. Have a productive day.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so that was our little demonstration. So let me just see if I can share the slides again. Oh, sorry, guys. Bear with me 1 minute. Oh, the slides have completely shut down. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Right. Try again in Teams. Then yes. Okay, that's done. Sorry about that. Getting used to this. So stand-ups, how do they work? So inputs for stand-ups are progress updates from each squad member, and we update the physical or digital board depending on what you use. The main outcomes, the squad should be informed of the general plan for the day and satisfied that it is in line with the overall goal for the iteration. There should be transparency of the work that's being delivered and the position of it. And then actions should be taken away, given an owner, and that will help to remove those impediments. Examples of application in different contexts. So depending on how you work, stand-ups can vary slightly. So you could run a daily stand-up for an individual squad. You could run stand-ups for a project or a specific program, where you meet up with people from different squads and business reps. Or you might simply be a team who want to raise visibility of work, so you start running stand-ups. You might want to better organise yourselves and create shorter feedback loops within the team. Techniques that you can use in your stand-ups. One technique is the 3 hands technique, and this is used to encourage people to take any topics offline that aren't appropriate in stand-up. It works by somebody raising their hand if they think the conversation has gone off topic, or if the current conversation is no longer effective. If a second or third person raises a hand, then that's a sign to stop the conversation and continue with the rest of the stand-up. Those that were talking about those conversations that weren't relevant can continue those discussions once the stand-up is finished. And this approach really makes it easy for people to share their view on the effectiveness of the conversation in a way that reduces the risk of causing any offence. And it also provides a way for the team to detect and correct its own behaviour. And finally, for stand-ups, pitfalls to watch out for. So problem solving during the meeting, this can detract focus and make the meeting overrun. Try to avoid rambling. Whoever is facilitating the stand-up can support by interjecting with things such as, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm conscious of time. We've not yet gotten around, everyone. Can we pick this up offline? People staying quiet can sometimes be something to watch out for. So again, the facilitator can direct the conversation by choosing a speaker, or maybe asking a team member to nominate the person who goes next. And then you can make sure that everybody's spoken before closing the meeting. Try to avoid repeat. When you have the same meeting at the same time every day, it can sometimes get a little bit rehearsed. So you can probe further, ask what when people expect to complete things and what they've achieved since we last spoke. So you can do a bit more probing if you're having issues with repeating. Not raising blockers. So the facilitator can recap after each person to confirm. So are there no issues we need to be aware of? Is everything on track? and then get the person who was given the update to just confirm that that's correct. And be aware of inviting people as guests for a small piece of work or initiative. It's not a complete no-go, but it can detract from the usual cadence of the ceremony. It can run the risk of making stand-ups run over. So you can explain in advance to your guest how the stand-ups work. And if your guest would like to speak, just ensure that everybody else on the stand-up has spoken first, because the guest isn't there. Usually they are a guest after all. And that's it for stand-up. So I'm now going to hand over to Jade, who is going to talk you through retrospectives.
Yep, thanks, Ruth. So what are retrospectives? They're really an opportunity for the squad to pause and reflect and constructively feedback on the past work in the sprint. It should be a safe space for everyone to share an open and honest opinion. It's really to understand what went well and understand what didn't go so well, and try and understand why, so we can take learnings, identify improvement to continuously improve going forward. It's really important that we don't just focus on negatives. It's really important to focus and celebrate on success as well. So what did you achieve, and key call outs to the squad or the team. It's also a great opportunity to gauge and understand how happy the team are, so understand team health and morale as well. So before you start retrospectives, what do you need? Everyone in the squad should take part. On occasion, you might invite or involve people who have also contributed to the work in that sprint. Retros can be facilitated in person or remotely, either on a physical board or a virtual board, but one that everyone can access and add their feedback onto. It takes place at the end of the sprint usually, so you can take those improvements going forward into the next sprint, but also can take place at the end of key kind of project milestones, or when a significant opportunity to improve presents itself. So you can look at what's gone well, not well, and improve there as well. So I think we're moving on to the retro demo now. Another demo.
Okay, I'll share my screen.
Thanks, Chris.
No worries. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that zoomed in enough? Is it visible?
You might want to zoom in one more, Chris. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So retro demo. Typically in a retro, we'd give the team some time to have a think about how things went and add their thoughts. For the purposes of expediency, we've preloaded this board. So we'll kick off. Let's take a look at what we thought went well as we were working through the playbook initiative. So collaborated well. Somebody want to expand on that?
Yeah, so I added that card to the board. Just felt like over the last couple of weeks we've collaborated as a team really well, especially as it's approaching peak. There's been quite a lot to do.
All right, great. Thanks, Laura. Delivered at pace. Somebody want to?
Yeah, I put that one on there. So we worked really well as a team, as Laura said, and we delivered the playbooks. We got them done and ready in time for the lunch and learns.
All right, that's great. Thanks, Ruth. I've added the ticket around the peer review process. I felt that it was a bit delayed because we were a bit confused. We didn't really know how to go about it. So what can we do about that? How can we learn and improve? I've given an action to document what we should be doing there and agree it prior to starting next time.
I'm happy to pick that up.
All right, great. Thanks, Ruth. All right, that's it in terms of feedback. We should always kind of recognise our colleagues. So any shout outs, I've put a ticket in there to shout out to Bobby for raising the team morale.
Bobby is my little dog.
Is he not there, Ruth?
He's fast asleep down here.
All right,
so
we'll leave
I
him
was going
asleep
to
then.
pick him up and show him to everyone for a bit of fun, but he's fast asleep.
Okay, fair enough. it's also, as Jade mentioned, it's a good opportunity to kind of gauge the morale of the team, just to see how things are floating. So a technique is to get some emojis and drag them into this squad mood column. Everybody seems quite positive, which is a good thing. All right, I think we're done.
Perfect. So go back to the slides just so Jade can do the final bits about retro. Bear with me. Okay, Jade.
Thank you. So I think it's really important to understand this kind of guiding principle around retros, which is regardless of what we discover, we understand and we truly believe that everyone did the best job that they could, given what they knew at the time, their skills and abilities, the resources available and the situation at hand. So it's really to look at the positives and take in the learnings to ensure that your retro is effective to be able to continuously improve going forward. So, next slide, please, Ruth.
Oh, sorry.
So a bit more into how retro works. So the input really needs to have open and honest and constructive feedback from everyone on how things have gone. It should be a safe space, so everyone should feel comfortable and confident to be able to share honest views. The focus should really be on inspecting and adapting and improving going forward. So not just what went well, ensure that continues, but also to learn from what hasn't maybe gone so well, because I think we all know not everything goes to plan all the time. We should reflect on what we set out to achieve and the outcomes that we were trying to achieve in the past sprint. So we can understand again on how we can improve and what went well in achieving those or not, and how we can make sure we can improve to make sure we do next time. It's key to ensure that you also reflect on the improvements and the actions from the previous retrospective. So just reviewing those at the start is always helpful to make sure that you are taking those improvements and actioning them ongoing. As a minimum, you should consider these kind of reflection points. So what went well, what could we improve, and what action would we like to take forward? So you might not take all actions forward, you might just pick some of the most important ones that the squad or the team agree. There are many retro formats, which we won't go into now, but we can share more detail on those. But I think at the heart of those, it considers these three questions as a minimum. So the outcomes, I think as we've demoed slightly, as actions are captured and assigned owners. So you really need someone to own and take the improvements going forward. We have a way to track the improvements and understand the progress against them. We also would capture the retrospective output, so what was discussed in the retro, the actions and who was assigned against them. The outcome of retrospective should be ongoing, small incremental improvements at the end of each sprint that you can carry forward. Also good to capture the team morale, and you can kind of see that trend over time. So what to watch out for in retrospectives. So everybody should participate and feel comfortable to participate, and if they don't, it's kind of key to understand why. As you said, it should be a safe space for everyone to share their feedback.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there, Jade. Sorry.
Okay. So actions not being completed. So actions should be captured in retrospectives, assigned owners, and it's really important that those actions are actioned. That's how we're going to improve going forward. So really key to kind of review those at the start from your past retrospectives. Again, avoid it becoming a moaning session. So you need to take kind of the positive positive action from the things that didn't go well. So yeah, avoid it becoming sort of more of a moaning session, and try and look for those kind of positive actions that you could take. Ensure how everyone has access to the tooling. So there's many different tools that you can run retrospectives, particularly virtually. So I know people in the past can have issues accessing certain tools, so it's just key to make sure everyone can access those and add their feedback before we start a retro. Ensure enough time is allocated to each topic, so everything's covered. Yeah, so really, really important that everyone has gives their feedback, and you can kind of get round to it and discuss it all. Something that helps that is to kind of work smart and eliminate duplication or group common themes, so you can discuss that as one. And you should have retros frequently, so they should be at the end of your sprint for people working in squads. So they should happen regularly, because we're really looking for small incremental improvement to continuously improve. So yeah, having them more regularly will mean you can take smaller action, and that would be ongoing as well. That's it for me on retros. I think we're going to maybe skip Q&A at this point and move to Jim, and we'll take any questions either at the end, or if you put them in the chat or email them over, we can answer those.
All right, thank you, Jade.
Thanks, guys. Over to you, Jim.
Morning. Hope everyone can see me. I'm in the office, so I've got the unusual half phone, half Surface setup to try and get this working. I also feel bad that I've just looked at that wonderful ceremony and there was just so much role play going on. And unfortunately, our team has not done that same level of role play. I'm actually hoping my team will join me, but we'll see. Let me see if I can share my PowerPoint presentation. Give us a second. Does that work? Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Marvelous. So let me start. So basically, our group of people, there's myself, there's Natalie, there's Tim, I've forgotten, Karen, and unfortunately Thomas, who is on holiday today, so he can't join us. So what I'm talking about, I'm here to talk about the sprint review. The sprint review is there to inspect the outcome of the sprint and determine future adaptations. The actions are to review the work done and not done, discover any changes, issues, or pivots that need to occur, and then use that to determine the future goals, focus points. The most critical point of the service review is a collaborative review of the current situation, valuable routes forward. So what does that actually mean? Basically, at the end of your 2-week sprint, your squad will get together and you'll talk through what happened last sprint. You'll have your goals, you'll have your actions, you'll look at your story points, and you'll see, have you done everything you promised to do? If you haven't done it, why not? And what can we do to try and solve these problems for the next sprint that's coming? So on to the format of a sprint review. Ideally, the whole squad should attend. It's a mandatory ceremony. It's quite an important ceremony. Of course, people are on holiday, not everyone can make it. But as a benchmark, you want the whole squad there, because the whole squad needs to contribute to what actually happened over the last 2 weeks. In addition to the core squad, you can also invite the following people if you wish to. The key business stakeholders. There'll be a lot of business teams who are interested in what the squad's been delivering. It can be quite useful to add them as optional stakeholders, just see if they want to attend, to see what the squad's working on, any problems they've got. The heads of engineering in the DT department, they're a good group of people you might want to invite. They are ultimately developers or reported to heads of engineering, so they're very interested in what they're doing. Any other interested squads might be interested in attending, because obviously there's lots of squads in DT, they all work together, work on different things. It's quite interesting to see what other squads are working on and whether you think there'll be any problems. And then finally, anyone can attend really. They're not private sessions. If you're interested in what a squad's doing, please contact either the delivery manager or the product manager. You can be invited to the sprint review and then we can go from there. So what is the format of a sprint review? So the session should be facilitated by the Agile delivery manager. but everyone in the squad will have a key role in the ceremony. Obviously, within this new hybrid world, most people aren't actually in the office. So in that case, the majority of these sessions are held on Teams. As the previous group showed you, you can run pretty much any Agile ceremony off-site using Teams focus, which is good. But obviously, if people are on site, you can have it on site. When should the ceremony take place? It is basically the second to last ceremony in a Scrum cycle. You do it at the end of the sprint before the retro, and that's the best place to do it. Well, you have to do it then. If the content warrants it, then you can do a PowerPoint presentation to highlight what you've delivered in the sprint. And also, if anyone uses Jira, which I think most squads do, when you close a sprint in Jira, you get automatically generated Jira sprint reports, which include things like a sprint review report, a burn down report, a burn up report. It just demonstrates everything, all the work that was done and all the work that wasn't done. And then basically the key outcome of the ceremony is to agree what should be worked on next, and the outcome will be fed into the next sprint planning ceremony. So for instance, you'll look at, say, you only did 2 goals out of 3, you'll look at the third goal, you'll understand why you didn't hit that third goal, and then finally you'll decide whether or not you can move into the next sprint. If you can, as part of your next sprint planning session, you will then look to move that in. And then a very good technique in a sprint review is the 5 whys technique. What the 5 whys technique is basically asking the question why on numerous occasions, obviously up to 5, it's in the name. And that gives you an idea of digging down into what causes the problem. To give a very good example, for people who like football, I was at Man City on Saturday and City lost 2-1. So you could ask the question, why did City lose 2-1? And City lost 2-1 because Ivan Toney scored in the 97th minute. You'll say, why did Ivan Toney score in the 97th minute? He scored because City's defenders didn't do their job in stopping him. Why did City's defenders not stop him? Because the City defenders were up in the opposition's penalty box. They were trying to score a goal. Why were they trying to score a goal? Because they wanted the 3 points. And so you can dig down into understanding exactly what the problem was, why something happened. And it's very useful and also quite engaging because it will get everyone in the squad being involved. And then we've also got an example of sprint reviews in 2 different contexts. So the first example is you've got a squad and they plan to meet 4 sprint goals during the previous sprint. At the end of sprint 2, 2 of the goals were missed. In the sprint review session, the missed goals will be reviewed and the squad will discuss why these goals were not met. Any blockers will be called out and the squad will agree how best to remove the blockers. The squad will then discuss whether these goals can be in the next sprint, and if everyone agrees, they will feed this decision into sprint planning and the goal will move into the next sprint. Obviously, if they think they can't meet it because of these external blockers, then in which case it won't feed into next sprint planning. And then second example is you've got a squad that's working on a cross-squad tribe deliverable. In the sprint review session, key stakeholders from the other squad's tribes will attend. The squad will talk through what was delivered in the last sprint and highlight what is planned to be delivered in the next sprint. And then the other squads may highlight any dependencies they've got. They may get involved in discussions, and it's quite interesting for people to be on the same page with what's being delivered. And that is basically it for a sprint review. It's quite a basic ceremony, but it is quite an important ceremony. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Probably best to go back to Ruth, maybe, for questions for all 3 ceremonies.
Yeah, happy for people to send me questions. That's no problem, and then I can field them out to whoever to answer them and reply. So that's us for this Lunch and Learn, everybody. So thank you all very much for attending. I hope it was useful. And yeah, please get in touch with any questions if you have any, and have a great day.